then the Chiefs respond with the big hits of their own.
Now,
Good Chiefs support at the stadium today.
let's go! News, views, and behind-the-scenes chats from Sandy Park. This is the Exeter Chiefs Podcast with Rhino and Bentos.
What an introduction. Welcome. Thank you for finding us. Thanks for downloading the brand new Exeter Chiefs podcast. I'm Rhino. He's Bentos. We're here to give you news, views, and behind-the-scenes access to Sandy Park. Bentos, how long have we been talking about this now?
We've been talking about this for a couple of months now, really. Usually over a hot chocolate for me and a coffee for yourself.
We record this podcast today on the back of just a meteoric moment for the club that we couldn't have really foreseen when we started preparing this a few days ago. Yesterday. Wow.
Yesterday's referring to the Sunday when Exeter Chiefs defeated Ospreys, denied them anything, and somehow, through mathematical algorithms, qualified as the top of European Champions Cup Pool 2, which did indeed contain Clermont Auvergne, last year's finalists, Bordeaux Bagler, who have got a budget through the roof, and Ospreys, who had half the Welsh team in it.
In a word, can you describe the atmosphere at the club at the moment?
Special. There's a word.
This is the Exeter Chiefs Podcast.
Alongside me and Bentos, we're joined by Stino. Hello, welcome.
Hi, how you doing? I'm obviously the guinea pig for this evening. So.
Well, no, we thought we'd start with the best.
Start one of the best. Start with what we like to call one of the originals. One of the guys that's seen the club from the days of playing against Otley and getting beaten by lots of points by Harlequins to a team that basically doesn't fear anybody. All right, well,
and also the Six Nations boys are away, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I love how we're the three of us are all grown-ups now, because we've come to record this at like 7:30, 8:15 at night when we've been allowed out and the children are all in bed.
Yeah,
that's why I was late.
Yeah,
that was the caveat on me coming, was you need to help put the children to bed first. So we've said that Stino is in the studio, but there is only one way to welcome Stino to the studio, and it has to be done in the right way.
Okay.
And you know what that is, yeah?
Right.
So it has to be done with respect, as if you were coming onto the pitch. So, with sponsor credit, please welcome to the studio, sponsored by Centrax, number 10, Gareth Steenson. So that's what you call respect, yeah?
Yeah, no, that's
a proper introduction with sponsor credit and music.
What's the story behind that song then? Because one of the great things about the Exeter Chiefs is players get to choose their own theme tune when they score points. You're obviously going to score a lot of points. So do you put a lot of thought into your song, or? That
was a few years ago. I sat down with was my fiancée at the time. She was, and obviously she's my wife now. But we enjoyed the idea of whenever your name was announced, that everyone in the crowd would raise a glass.
Yeah.
And it was actually down to Glee. We're doing a very good song at the time, and I was kind of enjoying that, and it was to raise your glass, but we eventually went with Pink, because it ended up being a little less girly, I think.
How long have you had that now? Quite a while.
5, 6 years, maybe 5 years.
All the time. I think I've been coming.
I'll be honest, it's a good one, and it suits the tone, because everyone's just cheering after a try has been scored or hit the penalty. But I think you probably come second to Waldron with the Thomas the Tank Engine theme. I love that.
Yeah.
Beat that one, really.
It's special.
But he doesn't get on the radio, because when I'm driving along listening to the radio and you hear that, you'd think Stino. So it's kind of like a brand thing.
Yeah, true. I'll give you that.
He's there.
He's getting into his commercial side of things.
Pink would like that.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to start by talking about your career, Gareth. So Irish boy, have played for Ireland, under 19, under 21. What got you into this? What started the journey for a young boy in Ireland?
For me, it was at schoolboy level. It was just about going out and enjoying the game. I enjoyed playing with your mates at school, and I was lucky enough to get picked up at a few trials, different things, and got into those squads, into those international teams. That led into getting into the Ulster Academy at the time. It was all about then hopefully progressing. Always wanted to be a sportsman of some description. Whether it was in the football field or on the rugby pitch, or to an extent there was a time where I thought I might have been a snooker player. But obviously at that stage it was all about just trying to progress, and hopefully.
When did it sit in your mind that you actually thought, I could actually make a living out of this?
I think you have those sort of feelings whenever you're a kid, don't you? You always have those dreams, and I still remember the day I went into the Ulster squad and they kept saying you've got another year in the academy, and then I can remember the day I was turned around and said, look, it's not going to happen for you today. And I remember going home to my parents at the time, and we had a decision to make. It was very simple. You're either going to give it a go at an opportunity to go across to Rotherham, and I either give this a go or I pull the pin and go get a real job.
That was it Andre Bester?
It was Andre Bester,
right,
yeah.
So he had a famous connection to Ireland as well. Did he coach you in Ireland, or did he know of you?
He knew of me. Back home we had different club teams, so he was at a specific team, which was Belfast Harlequins at the time, and my cousin at the time, who's now coaching the forwards coach at Ulster, was very quick to tell me not to follow him. So I did a couple of years playing away from his team, and then he went across to Rotherham, and he the opportunity came. I wasn't getting any love in Ulster, and they said, look, I still would like you to come, and if you want to give it a go over here, I'll give you an opportunity. And I said, right, well, you're only going to get one opportunity maybe, and this is it. So off I went to live up in Yorkshire. And
then from Yorkshire, obviously there was a fair bit of a shift geographically down to the Pirates. How did that one come about?
Well, it was just because I'd been in a year playing in the league, and then obviously you sort of get seen by other teams. Really, no one really would have heard about who I was at this stage over here. So you're kind of making your name again. You're getting away from Ireland, where people have a stereotypical view of you. So nobody really knew what Garstings was about in England.
What was the stereotypical view?
Oh, very much stand back, kind of lazy, would just stand and kick goals, very slow, and couldn't tackle. So changed a few of those things, but
I remember seeing Garstings at Rotherham was quite plump.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
From the 2016 version, the 2008 version,
well,
2005 version, or whatever it was.
At 23 years of age, I think I was 93 kilos when I left Rotherham. I'm now at 86, so that gives you an idea.
Yeah. Tweet your question at Exeter Chiefs, #Chiefs Podcast.
Tell us more about this chubby Stino. What did he look like?
I was quite hefty around the midriff, and definitely had some good chunky cheeks.
I don't think he was keen on the Pro Spic shirts.
No, I certainly wasn't.
You were quite like in a looser fitting Chris Budgeon style jerseys.
Well, I think the best way to put it is when I arrived here, I was asked, was I a hooker? Was my position.
Okay.
So that sort of gave you my first day, and I was straight into Fat Club. So that'll give you an idea.
Some motivation to get yourself sorted.
Yeah, that was Paddy Hansen, wasn't it?
Yeah, rough times then.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Especially for an unfit man coming from Cornwall who enjoyed a few bags of crisps in bed at night before you went to sleep.
Yeah, this is something actually for this podcast we should put out there. If it's possible, you do have a vice, don't you?
Yes.
Is this the Irish Tatoes?
Yes. Straight, very local to me. They actually, the factory is probably about 10 miles from my home place, so.
It's not quite as iconic as Andy Good with it. He always has Italian style Peroni, doesn't he, after a game? You always going to crack open a bag of tater after a good week.
I get them sent over now in boxes of 50. So they sit in my mum gets them for me. So I get them delivered. There was one day I got them delivered to the club, and I figured, well, these crisps have arrived, and there's 150 bags here, so I'm going to put 40 bags of crisps out for the lads. Just good session.
It's the nutrition. For the players. It's following on from like Woodward did with England. Everything is tailored for the players. So after you finish training, there's all your supplements are laid out, or your protein shakes, whatever it may be, and there's accountability. Your name is on the peg, so you know you've got to take it. And all of a sudden, we all come in from training. There was a bag of Tato crisps for everybody.
Yeah, so
Stino, director of nutrition.
Paddy Hansen, the conditioning coach, didn't know what to do with himself.
Well, he kind of figured out who it was. I think the first few boys that got in there got their crisps, and everybody was in after Paddy didn't get them. They were all returned to me, so it was all right. They were given a good home.
That sort of is a pastiche, a very simple idea of the Exeter way. That although it is very professional and we really go for it, there is a huge element of fun and enjoyment, isn't there? Because you alluded to this quite recently about if people are coming here, they've got to get into the Exeter way.
Yeah, well, I think it's reflected in the way we play, because if you're not enjoying something, we always talked about we didn't want it ever to become a chore where you're coming in. We're living the dream, and you want to enjoy that, but how do you enjoy it? You do enjoy it in the right ways by enjoying each other's company. If you're mates with the guy beside you, you're going to work harder for him on the pitch, and that's the best way we try to go about it.
Chris was saying before you came down tonight that the way that you guys celebrate a success is together. So after the game on Sunday, you were together celebrating as a team quietly. Is that what we're alluding to? Is this Chiefs thing? It's done privately, together, as mates?
I think it is, but it's sort of celebrated as well with supporters a bit as well. I think more so maybe here, it's hard to grasp because I haven't been at other clubs really, but I think we have a good rapport with our supporters. We do go up into the bar after the games as best we can. I don't know, some guys might have to go off as they've got other commitments with family and stuff like that, but most guys were encouraged to go up and maybe have a beer with their supporters after the game and have a chat and stuff.
Well, you'll see, boys like Knowlesy, I don't know why everyone wants his autograph. State of him.
Must be the hairstyle or something.
Well, over Facebook yesterday, it was full of girls spotting him in the crowd. I'm more interested in the score whether Jack Knowles in the stand.
Is that the way things are going now?
Well, there's a girl on my Facebook yesterday. I'm off to see my Jack with a kiss. It's like, who's Jack?
Taking ownership.
My Jack.
Yeah, he's been branded as hers.
I'm sure he'd be delighted.
Have you noticed the difference though from over the years? Because I was talking earlier about how in my day press used to be you do the Express and Echo, and that would be that. And maybe one person in Tesco would spot you and say hello. Are you now finding that the hand of fame has touched you?
Yes, I would say so, yeah. The difference, definitely, from when I first came here, where you were trying to go for a night out, for instance, and nobody wanted you anywhere. Yeah. All of a sudden now it's...
Every bar wants you in their bar.
Yeah, which is lovely, and don't get me wrong, it is fantastic that's the way the clubs went, and we're always trying to promote the place as well as best we can, and this is the thing that goes with it, and I think the way the whole game's developed down around Devon, especially with the World Cup coming here and everything. It was always going to go like that a little bit, and now we're getting a bit of success as well. People want to be part of it, and it's
Have you had any
fantastic.
bonkers moments where you've gone, I'm almost famous here?
No, I haven't had any bonkers moments, no. I wouldn't say that.
You're listening to the Exeter Chiefs Podcast with Rhino and Bentos. Still to come.
I'm living the dream. Yeah. I'm very aware that the dream will come to an end one day. But you can control everything up until the moment you kick that ball. But at the time, if they were going to cap me, I'd have been more than happy to have played.
Exeter Chiefs Podcast.
Now, I just want to play a clip my brother-in-law actually found on Twitter of you kicking last week. Excuse the wind and everything, but you'll get the clink at the end.
I'm assuming that is Stino kicking the ball.
Yeah. Well, obviously this is podcast radio, whatever you like, and not TV. So for you listening, that's just a little clip that Stino put on his Twitter last week of you kicking. Was it from the corner and hitting the post?
Yeah, I tend to practice on the try line, just trying to hit the post. It gives you the whole idea is that you've got a line there, in a straight line. You're just trying to kick it along that line, but obviously it was a windy day, so I got lucky. How
do you do that, really? Because you're an expert. You're 31, so you've been doing this for a long time.
Still young, mate. Still young.
How do you focus the mind? What's happening in your head when you're either doing that or during a game? What's actually going on?
Well, it's all mental. That's the one thing I've learnt as I've went. For me, I've done it so many times, and it is a repetition thing. You sort of train, the mind trains the body to just sort of do, and it's almost become second nature. But if you sort of lose, there's been plenty of days where I've gone out and I haven't had it in my head properly, and actually Ali's, our assistant coach, has said to me, look, you're just not mentally there today. And I was like, well, yeah, I've got a mental block on myself. And I've had that in training, I've had that in warm-ups before games. And you just sort of go, right, well, what can you do? You sort of move on. My best example is I always try to put it to, if you play a 10-pin bowling, if you can hit a strike once, there's absolutely no reason why you can't hit it twice, because there's all the variables are exactly the same. I know whenever you're maybe kicking a goal, the conditions come in and play a part, but you can control everything up until the moment you kick that ball. And that's the best way to probably approach it. And then once you've kicked it, you've no control over it then.
Conditions being the great moment on Boxing Day when I watched the video and it just flew back.
Yeah, there's we're lobbying at the moment to get the club changed from Sandy Park to Sandy Windy Park.
I've been petitioning for that for a long. I've tried to get a windscreen up behind that post for all the year.
Trying to catch restarts.
6-7 years.
Once that ball goes up in the air, no idea.
We've said we won't hold back on asking the questions, so I'm just going to go for it. Stino, I'm really keen to know, how did it feel when you weren't getting picked, especially in the 11-12 season? And what have you done to fight your way back to first choice for that shirt?
I'm not going to lie, that was one of the toughest years I've ever experienced, because I was used to being the guy who played.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the first real test, if you could say, and I was getting nowhere. And I had many frustrating days where I'd go out and practice my kicking, you know, with Ignacio at the time. And he'd go out and he'd miss 70 kicks in a row, and then he'd go out and he'd kick everything in the game, and I'm sitting there and pulling my hair out going, I'm going to get a game. But I remember, I think my agent said to me at the time, he says, this is going to be the making of you. You're going to be so much better for this experience. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know how this is ever going to happen. Come on now, you're having a laugh. I'm going to be better when I've spent a year doing nothing.
People seem to say that in different professionalisms, don't they? Not just in sport. But when you go through a tough time, you can't see a way out. But you've got someone, like, hopefully, beside you going, don't worry. Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah, no, but
it'll make you stronger.
I think it has. It actually taught me to appreciate it a wee bit more. So when you got the opportunity to play, you sort of cherished every time you got to play. It wasn't more at the time. It was more, I should be playing here. Look what I've done. You know, and you were sort of living. You were sort of living on your laurels, what you'd done in the past, and
you do show that, don't you? You really are the heartbeat of the team. You know, I said after the Claremont game, they've caught you on Sky TV dancing on the pitch. You really do make sure you enjoy every moment.
No, it is. I mean, it's like I said, I'm living the dream. Yeah. You know, and I'm very aware that the dream will come to an end one day.
Sometime yet, mate.
Well, you never know. You could, every game could be your last game, so you kind of want to have your best game and best of every time you play. That's very much. I think I've only probably learned that over the last year or two.
Has being a dad affected your game, and how has it changed you? Because we're all fathers in here, and we've all been on the journey. So how has it affected you on the field?
Huge. I think I've been able to, when the game's over, where I've won or lost, I'm able to walk away from it and go, right, well, I can put that to bed on Monday now, if it's a Saturday game, and go home and enjoy a bit of fun with the boys, and the boys won't judge me. You know, like
they will in a few years.
They will do.
Yeah, Dad, that kick.
They are slightly.
What were you doing?
He is telling me I'm kicking to the moon, and when I miss now, but sometimes that's his thing. When I kick, apparently I kick to the moon. Right. So,
well, space is the thing for the kids
fella
at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, he's. But like, all they want to do is get on the pitch after the game. That's all. The two boys just want to get on the pitch and run about after the game, and it's something I really look forward to.
You must be so proud of that, taking the boys on.
Oh yeah, no, it is like, you know, it's like when you sort of just want to run after your little ones and see them grow up, and it's nice that they're getting to see their old fella running about in the field and chasing after a load of youngsters.
So the Christmas Day stuff has stopped now?
It's stopped as of last year was my last go.
Well, this Christmas just gone.
I didn't go out this Christmas, no.
So there's only one you haven't done it.
Yeah, well, maybe I missed the last. I can't remember. It's definitely, no, I think Christmas morning's now about getting up and actually getting in and seeing if Santa's come, really.
Christmas carnage, we call it in our house.
Yeah, no, it was carnage this year. I had 10 in our house this year with 4 boys, all the same age, so it was a lot of presents and I still haven't been to the dump yet to get rid of a lot of stuff.
Disappeared to you've got a bar out the back of your house, haven't
you? I have, yeah.
What's it called?
The Standoff.
The Standoff.
Yeah.
Is this your own bar?
It's my garage, which has been converted to a bar, courtesy of Brett Sturgis.
It's bar/rugby memorabilia.
It's sort of like
museum.
You could get on that. What's that George bloke on Channel 4? His programme, doesn't he do flash up sheds?
Don't think I'm not far on down the line now.
You've got some pretty good memorabilia.
Got some good stuff in there. Yeah, I've got some. Cameo Lopez gave me his shirt after the game. Apparently not to. He didn't want me putting that on social media, but I'm sure he's not listening. So, I got that. I got the Toulon shirt.
Yeah.
Did you get Wilkinson's shirt?
Not his specific one, but I've got his signature on the shirt. So I've got the whole squad that won the Heineken Cup that year signed the shirt. And my championship shirt that I wore in the final, signed with the whole squad up there. And my boots that I wore that night. So we've got wee bits and pieces there.
Yeah.
So it's quite nice.
When I was preparing for today, I was quite amazed to find that due to residency, you could play for England. How does that sound to an Irishman?
Well, at the time, if they were going to cap me, I'd have been more than happy to have played. In all honesty, I would have done it. And,
So if he called now?
oh, I'd be away tomorrow, yeah.
But
Why
there was
not?
also a rumour, was it earlier this month, the Irish Independent reported that they should come knocking for you. Because I think, did Sexton have a knock or something?
Well, regardless, the Irish provinces aren't really fronting up, and the Exeter Chiefs are, and there's an Irishman at the helm.
Yeah, I think
I'll say it.
That's all right. I think it all the time.
Any tweets, texts, calls?
If I'm being honest, I got one phone call, and it was from Les Kiss, and it was the year Richie Baxter retired, so if you can work out that year. I had a phone call. It was the time of the Lions tour.
Yeah, 2 years
I got a courtesy phone call, basically. I think they were getting a lot of pressure at the time. I got a courtesy phone call, and I was simply asked, what's your kicking stats? So I'm like, well, you don't really know too much about me then, if you don't know that. Look, it is what it is. I'm playing in England. I've played here most of my career.
In 5-10 years' time, you'll look back on your career. Will it be a regret that you didn't get the opportunity, assuming that it doesn't come?
I just had this conversation with my wife today, actually, over lunch.
Because right now, I mean, geez, I think I would swap absolutely anything to be in your boots. You're in an unbelievable position. But looking at that one, would that be possibly one regret?
Well, it's hard to be a regret because I never had the opportunity. Mm-hmm. I'd love just one chance to go and be part of a squad and just be looked at. Give me the kit for the weekend or whatever. And if you brought me in for a couple of days, had a look and said, no good, happy days, at least, I could live with that. Yeah. I think there'll always be a question mark over whether I could have. But
Steve, second in the Premiership, winning the European pool, I think there's no question mark. It's circumstance and the whim of certain individuals.
Look, it's been in the right place at the right time.
Yeah,
I think also I was, when I was 22, 23, like we were talking earlier, I probably was just behind the wrong guys at the wrong time. They were at the end of their career.
What was this, Chubby Steno?
Chubby Steno, yeah. Coming out of, getting ready to go to Rotherham at the time. I just wasn't in the right place, and I was probably left when I left Ireland. Like I said, that stereotypical view was carried on.
You're listening to the Exeter Chiefs Podcast with Rhino and Bentos. Still to come.
Was that Bastro?
That was Bastro. I got Bastro, yeah. We didn't get it in Bordeaux.
Did you not?
Exeter Chiefs Podcast.
Let's stop reminiscing and commiserating. Let's start talking about your career in general and some big
highlights.
Things. Some highlights. So highlights for you.
Well, there's the obvious
championship.
The obvious one.
Yeah.
That victory over Ospreys is going to challenge it.
I was going to say, because you're there.
It's going to challenge it.
I mean, they've gone full tilt, all their great guns, and we're sort of, no disrespect intended, it's probably a half-cocked Chiefs, because we had 6 internationalists that are away getting rested. There's a few injuries in the mix, and nobody, probably even within the camp, there weren't many tipping us to win the pool.
Yeah, but even with 10 minutes to go, you wouldn't have given us it either, I think it's just the way it happened. Yeah. And the way we approached the game, we were very much, we're just going to go, we are not going to lose our home record to these guys, what we've built and worked hard for. And we're going to go and try and knock these guys out of the competition. That's very simple what we said. We said our main target was go score 4 tries.
Yeah.
We went about that the right way, and what will be, will be. We didn't even talk about qualifying. I think to be on the other side of it now and look at it and the way it's all turned out, there's no way you could ever have picked it. And it's going to be a highlight, just the reaction and everything after the game, being told you're through, and you're in the quarterfinals, and like you're talking 5-6 years ago.
It's wasps at wasps.
By 50 points.
This frightening thing we've been talking in the corporate team is wasps at wasps. We've got form at wasps, so I don't think that's going to. It doesn't mean anything, but there's certainly not going to hold the fear factor that perhaps going to play Toulon in Toulon.
Well, absolutely. You know what it's like. We've won there before.
Yeah.
So, and if you're playing another English team, and we're second in the Premiership, so you
where
can't
was
look at
the
it.
Premiership at the moment?
6th or 7th.
Mid-tables.
They're malfunctioning a bit in the Prem, but the Prem doesn't stop. Europe, you can sort of have a couple of weeks, gear up, and then have a go. That's the difference. The Chiefs have just been relentless this year.
Oh, we've done really well. We've got a good squad of boys together. We've had some big injuries.
This is the Exeter Chiefs Podcast.
Let's talk the Toulon game. Stino, I heard that crunch from the North Terrace. How do you deal with stuff like that? Because I remember talking to you after the game, and weren't you kind of like shaking for a few days?
It was Matteo Bastro.
You remember it well.
My shoulder's still in. If you look at me, my shoulder's out of line, and it will be until I close my eyes.
And was that Bastro?
That was Bastro. I got Bastroed, yeah.
He smacked you off.
It was Jack Knowles' fault as well.
Did he
run away?
He threw me the worst pass in the world and ran off giggling, and then I got smashed.
A hospital pass. You could hear the asylum.
The guy, what was he, 18, 19 stone centre coming, and I didn't even see him coming.
What's worse for you then? Would it be getting the hospital pass when you're taking it to the line, or they get the right shoulder in a scrum and a horrible number 8 picks up and is running straight at you? And there's no
you can sort of deal with a number 8 run at you. You can sort of just step out of his way. Sure. You know what I mean?
So does that ever happen? Do you ever think, oh my God, when they're running at you?
I used to. Yeah, not now. I think there's definitely time. It's weird what you remember. I remember Andy Powell picking up at the base of a scrum when we played Sale, and it was like one of our first years. I remember thinking, there's Andy Powell. You've just watched him in the Lions TV and everything else, and he just... this guy's massive, and here he is. He's about and he's picking up. He's got a lovely run straight at me. I'll just sort of hope that Skatesbrook will get there. I've had that moment. It'd be a brave 10 to tell you he hasn't had that moment.
That was the day I remember that people were actually gutted that Wilkinson was misfiring because he couldn't hit anything, and then they were gutted when they switched the kicker. People were actually booing when they switched kicker.
He still hit the drop goal. I think he hit a drop goal that day.
I don't remember.
I was just gutted that I came off, and because it was always a dream to play against the guy. I only got 20 minutes against him, but here still got 20 minutes. It was quite nice to set up played against him.
So you've just passed it. Is it the 100 appearances in the Prem, and over 150 in total for the club now? What was the moment like a few weeks ago when you walked out and everyone gave you that moment for the 100 appearances?
It was lovely because it was a sellout, and it was a Boxing Day fixture, which meant that Sale didn't really have a lot of supporters there, and I wasn't actually going to run out at the start. I think Jack came to me in the warm-up and said, do you want to do this? Because I remember Jesse coming to me, and I was captain with the Newcastle game, and he didn't want to run out at the front.
Because he's the only other player to have celebrated that, hasn't he?
I don't know, it was a selfish point of view to do it, but they said go and do it, and it was just a very, very special moment. I had family in the crowd as well, which was great to have that sort of over and see it. And again, the conditions were bad that day, but we got 5 points. The last time I think I did my 100th league game was against Sale up there, and we lost that game, so it was kind of ironic that we got the win in the 150.
I think the thing that's driving these guys on is the thought of getting Heineken and Domino's at the end if they win.
It was a badly framed picture, wasn't it? You got all this junk food in the corner. They're just banging the drum about living this life.
We didn't get it in Bordeaux.
Did you not?
Apparently they don't have any pizza places over there. I don't know. It never arrived. No, it was something we asked for after the game. It's quite a nice thing actually if you think about it after you've played which is effectively a war. A slight battle, as you could put it in a sporting context, to sit down and you've achieved something as a group of boys, and you can sit down and you can have a beer together and say it's those little small things, whether you've one beer or you have a slice of pizza, you can sit there and you can go, tell you what, we did alright today, and those are the sort of wee moments that are quite nice, and you can share them.
The picture of you guys after the game that's been all over social media that Chris was mentioning as well is
Harry Williams has just let the side down. Everybody else is celebrating like they've won a European pool.
He is celebrating.
Harry Williams is that Harry Williams celebrating?
I don't know what everybody's problem is. That's what he does. In
the grand scheme, I think he's brilliant because he's your archetypal tight head prop. He's the sort of bloke you don't want to meet in a dark alley. And where that probably is joy for him, isn't it? That face. If you haven't seen it, you need to look at this photo. The Exeter Chiefs are celebrating, and Harry Williams has just stood there looking like someone's punched him in the face.
No, he's delighted there.
Maybe he didn't get any pizza. Stino ate his pizza.
It was his first game in the Champions Cup. Of course he's delighted.
Boyhood dream realised. He just stood there like someone.
He's just qualified for the quarters of his first game. Easy, innit?
Tweet your question at Exeter Chiefs. #Chiefs Podcast.
And that concludes our first attempt at the new Exeter Chiefs podcast.
I think having done this, hopefully, if you've listened this far, first and foremost, congratulations.
Yeah, you've made it. Well done.
Stino's mum and dad.
My mum and dad, your mum and dad, our wives, to find out where we were.
If you've got any thoughts, comments, we want this to be totally interactive. So that you can buy into and be a part of it. Stino's already said there's a synergy between the support base and the players. Get involved, get your questions in, get your wish lists of who you'd like to be a part of this. Hopefully you're not going to say get rid of Rhino and Bentos, but
that's not a good start, because then it won't exist.
No, exactly. But ultimately we can grow this.
Congratulations, guys! Thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah, well done. Stake in the ground, the beginning of something. From small acorns, big oaks grow.
If no one listens, it'll be the last one.
Your behind-the-scenes access to Sandy Park with Rhino and Bentos. Thank you. The Exeter Chiefs Podcast.